Folks, at this time, we're going to begin the services. I'm going to ask that if you have your cell phone with you, you please check it at this time to make sure it is on silent. And to begin our services today, the family has chosen a song by Brad Paisley, When I Get Where I'm Going. So we're going to open with that, and then I'm going to invite Barb Rossi forward to lead us in service.
On the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside the night, run my fingers through his knee. I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will share the sins and struggles I have carried all these years. And I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fears. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddad, and he'll match me step for step. And I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will share the sins and struggles I have carried all these years. And I'll leave my heart wide open. I will never have no fears. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry to me down. So much pain, so much darkness, this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no
Hello, everyone. My name is Barb Rossi, and I'm honored to be the celebrant today during our time together remembering Sylvia Dobson. On behalf of Sylvia's family, I welcome you and thank you for being here to honor her life, whether in person or over live stream. Whether Sylvia touched your life personally or you've shown up to support her loved ones, your presence is important because it will be the memory of those who gathered during this time that will be a source of strength and consolation as they carry their grief. Today, you'll see some personalized mementos and reminders of Sylvia here at Phillips. There's some framed photos. The family's ordered flowers in lavender, her favorite color. Some family members have a hint of lavender in their clothing, intentionally. And many other people have sent beautiful flowers as well. It really looks amazing in here. Before we started today, you heard the song When I Get Where I'm Going by Brad Paisley, chosen by the family. So be sure to watch the slideshow, sign the register book, take a prayer card with Sylvia's picture on it. And later in the service, there will be time to come forward and share memories or stories of Sylvia's life. We hope some family and friends will be able to come forward to share. We also remember today those who can't be with us while we pay our respects to Sylvia, whether separated by distance or loss. Your family's had many losses, some even just over the past few years, like Sylvia's grandson, Matthew McNeil, and her stepson, William Pope. May our gathering today in solidarity with your family bring you comfort in all your losses. And thank you as well to the directors and staff here at Phillips for your caring service to the family during this time. So we'll start today by reading Psalm 23 aloud together as a way to honor Sylvia's faith. It's the King James Version. It's on that paper that we handed out beforehand. Please join me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you. So I had the opportunity to speak to John in order to prepare for today's service. And he brought some of his own thoughts as well as feedback from Susan and some other family members. And he talked about the life that Sylvia created for herself and for those close to her. And it was clear that her kind-heartedness, her thoughtfulness of others, and her loving, caring, sharing nature cannot be overstated. That she was generous with her time and her resources, even during times when they were limited. It's clear that she had a huge influence on all of your lives, and I know that you're all the better for that. So we'll share some of Sylvia's story. Margaret Sylvia Sally was born on February 3rd, 1943 in Corning, New York. She was the youngest of 4 children, born to the late John and Margaret Iverson Sally, with her older brothers Dave, Dan, and Steve. She loved her mom, dad, and brothers dearly, enjoying close family relationships while she was growing up. Her family lived on the north side, on Upper Bridge Street, and she attended school in Corning. In high school, she was a cheerleader, and she graduated from Northside High School with the class of 1960. After high school, Sylvia worked for a time at a local bank, but her life's work was being a mother, actively raising her children and managing her home. you could find her cooking, cleaning, spending hours tending to her beloved vegetable garden. Sylvia had 3 children: Daniel, whom they called Buzzy, who predeceased her, Susan, and John. And as we mentioned, she was also a stepmother to William Pope, who predeceased her. As a mother, John described Sylvia as the greatest mom anyone could ever ask for, and that she was always a person who wanted to help others. For example, when her children were growing up, there were other kids in the neighborhood who were less fortunate. And many times, Sylvia would invite them into her home for a hot meal or for anything else that she could offer. She was an excellent cook and had a skill for whipping something up at a moment's notice. Her son Buzzy was apparently a good eater, and when he was older and out of the house, Sylvia would be so happy when he stopped to see her, even if it was just on a lunch break from work, so she would have the opportunity to feed him, making a burger or whatever she had on hand. It really made her day. She loved having visitors in general and would make it a point to tell her kids how happy she was when a friend, a neighbor, a family member would stop in to see her. She had a special relationship with her nephew, David Paul. He would take time to see her, and they would enjoy chit-chatting and having a beer. She also maintained good, loyal friendships with Liz Johnson, Carol Ross, and Laurel Antonio. The family would make trips to visit Sylvia's mother when she was in a nursing home, and Sylvia would once again combine her cooking and baking skills with her love of giving and would bring goodies for many of the other residents. She would spend time visiting not just her mother, but other people who needed a friendly face and someone who wanted to make them smile. She had a natural way with animals. They all loved her. She could befriend even the meanest animals, or ones who would bite just about everybody else. She was never afraid, and she could usually pick them up because they sensed her kind heart. She would take in strays, give them a great life. In particular, when her children were growing up, she took in a stray German Shepherd puppy. She named him Shep, after a dog that she had as a child. And the bond between them was like no other. They were inseparable, and she would take him on walks and wherever she went. And there's 2 pictures of Shep in that photo slideshow. She also loved her cat, and any animal that had her as an owner was lucky. So when John talked about his mother, he focused on the quality of relationships that Sylvia had with the people in her life, that she loved and continued to miss John's dad, Jack, that she had a bond with her daughter, Susan, that transcended the mother-daughter bond, that they were also best friends, that they spent a lot of time together, and that they always wanted happiness for each other. That Sylvia also shared a special bond with Susan's daughter, Melissa, as they spent so much time together when Melissa was growing up, and that Melissa continued to make time for her grandma, visiting, and maybe sometimes doing her hair and nails. Sylvia often asked John what she could do for Susan and Melissa because they were so good to her. She would tell him that it would make her feel so good to do something nice for them. And he said many times he'd be ready to leave after a visit with Sylvia in the nursing home, and she would send him home with something to give the family, typically candy or cookies. She wanted to be sure Alyssa got some Werther's Originals. And it was a long-standing tradition for her to offer her kids a couple bucks anytime they would visit her. She wanted to give you a couple bucks to go buy yourself something nice, go buy Colleen something nice, go buy the kids something, go buy the grandkids something. And in her last few years in the nursing home, even when her own quality of life was not at its highest, she would ask John if he knew anyone who was down on their luck, who would really appreciate $100. because she wanted to give it. She was never thinking of herself, always thinking of others, and it filled her heart with joy to make other people happy. How fortunate you all were to have known her. So there are prayer cards that you may have picked up today when you signed the register book. They have wildflowers and lavender background on one side, and on the other side is Sylvia's photo and a poem by the author Josephine Riley. It's called Touched, and it says, God's finger touched her, and she slipped away from earth's dark shadows to a brighter day. God saw the road was getting rough, the hills were hard to climb. He gently closed her weary eyes and whispered, Peace be thine. To a beautiful garden this friend has gone, to a land of perfect rest. Though she is gone, she still lives on in the garden of memory. Okay, at this time, I'm going to invite anybody who has a memory or a story to come forward. If you can, come forward and speak into the microphone so the people who are watching via live stream can hear you. If that's not possible, if you wave at me, I can bring the microphone out to you, or you can just stand right where you are and project your voice. And please make sure to tell us who you are. Thanks so much. Okay. I don't want to cut anyone off. Hopefully I didn't cut you off right before you were about to come up. If now is not the time, make sure that you share your memories and stories with the family. Okay. So, during our family meeting, I was so taken by the way that John spoke about how best to remember Sylvia today. He spoke with love and humor and conveyed clearly her general presence in the world. That while her death is a huge loss for their family, it's right to celebrate somebody who lived for 79 years, who mothered and stepmothered 4 children, who had loving relationships, and who is remembered specifically for her love. It's clear that you are a family that's done a lot of caretaking for Sylvia, and that you take care of each other. People aren't perfect, relationships aren't perfect, but your family clearly has the genuine desire to help each other suffer less. And I can't help but think this is how your family's coped with hardship all along. I believe that your support for each other is going to be so valuable in your healing going forward. I hope it carries you with grace through the early stages of grief and into the coming years while you write your next chapters. And to those here today who showed up to support Sylvia's family, they thank you again, and they're going to need you. Don't be afraid that you're going to say the wrong thing to them over the next weeks and months and years, because they need your presence, they need your ability to hold space with them, and your willingness to speak Sylvia's name. And we'll say the Lord's Prayer together. It's also on the cheat sheet that was handed out. Please join me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Thank you. Sylvia, we thank you for all the gifts that you've given to your family. Your influence will be seen in your loved ones' every interaction, in how they continue to care for each other, and in how they raise the next generation in your legacy. As we leave here today, we hope for comfort and peace for Sylvia's loved ones, and we remember that while we say goodbye to Sylvia's physical presence, it does not affect our memory of her personality or her character or her spirit or her impact on those she loved, because all of these will live on within you, in your thoughts and memories. We leave Sylvia in peace, and we bid her a loving farewell. I want to let you know that everyone is invited to a reception at Bridges Bar and Grill starting at 4 o'clock. It's right around the corner from here, right on Bridge Street, the old Captain Morgan's, or if you haven't been in Corning for 30-ish years, the old Rojo's. After we conclude, you'll hear the song Forever and Ever by Randy Travis as you come forward to pay your last respects, which was chosen by the family. And I thank you. It's truly been an honor. Director Kelly Kopp will come forward for dismissal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I want to start by thanking Barb for her words today. And on behalf of Sylvia's family, I want to thank those of you here today for coming in support. And I ask all of you over the upcoming weeks and months to please continue to hold our family close. This does conclude the services here today. This time and space is yours, so please take as much time as you need. And as you pay your last respects and exit, we will, as Barb mentioned, be listening to the song Forever and Ever, Amen by Randy Travis. Lastly, I just want to thank you for allowing us the honor of caring for your mom. Thank you.